What's going on, guys? Mike here. Today's video we're going to be talking about Arms Warrior PvP as of patch 5.2. With this patch we've seen a lot of changes to a lot of our abilities, such as Intimidating Shout having a 30-second increased cooldown, Defensive Stance now reducing damage by 15% instead of 25%, Shield Wall scaling 10% less efficiently with attack power, and Haste for Blood getting completely revamped so now that it only procs overpower when you use Mortal Strike. So with that being said, Warriors are still at the top of their game by far, and I'm going to show you exactly why and how I make it that way. So with the talents for a first tier, I went with Double Time because it gives me the most amount of mobility out of everything else. Warbringer is also nice, but it shares a diminishing return with Shockwave, and I don't always use Shockwave. Well, actually, I do use Shockwave. So Warbringer puts it on diminishing return, and it kind of cancels the two out. Juggernaut, it's nice to have a 12-second, but I'd rather be able to charge twice. The next tier for healing, Second Wind is still optimal with a 3% increased healing when you're below 35% health. It was nerfed from 4% to 3%, but it's still the absolute best. For the next tier, you can go either Piercing Howl or Disrupting Shout. In my case, I prefer Piercing Howl. If you go against a heavy spell cleave, Disrupting Shout will definitely help you out in the long run, but Piercing Howl, because of the mobility and snaring and everything, it just makes it a lot easier for me to stay on target, even if they are a spell cleave and even if they are any form of ranged class. For the next tier, I like to use Dragon Roar. The only time I will not use this is in arenas. Occasionally I will switch to Dragon Roar if I have a good arena comp, which right now I am running my Arms Warrior and two really good friends of mine. One is a Discipline Priest, the other is a Subtlety Rogue. Because a Subtlety Rogue has a tremendous amount of CC, I use Dragon's Roar every now and again to add that burst to go kind of accent his stuns, cheap shot, kidney shot, and things of those forms. But anyways, Dragon Roar, Shockwave, it's all very situational. For the next tier, I find the best to be Safeguard. Reason being is because it gets you out of any kind of root or snare, and it also provides a 20% damage reduction on the friendly target that you safeguard to for 6 seconds. So again, with my current arena team, when I safeguard to my healer when he's taking a lot of damage, this helps him with survivability, healing himself up and popping off a couple heals off to us as well. For the final tier, I like Avatar because it gets rid of roots and snares, and as long as that you use it, even if it is with your macro, as long as you use it properly, it'll definitely help you in the long run. Moving over to glyphs, I use Glyph of Bull Rush, which makes my charge generate an additional 15 rage. Glyph of Long Charge, which increases my charge by 5 yards. Again, added mobility, and Death from Above. This glyph was actually changed. The only difference between now and what it was before is it had its 100% damage increase removed. Again, more utility, more mobility. So I stuck with that. The rest, I have Thunder Strike, Blazing Trail, and Burning Anger. It's cosmetic. Pick whatever feels best for you. Moving over to gear. Stat priority is as follows: 3% hit, 6% expertise, then crit, then mastery. Haste, even after the buff, is still useless. Now for the gems, for the meta, use Reverberating Primal Diamond, which is 216 strength and 3% critical effect, or increased critical effect. For the red sockets, I use Resplendent Vermilion Onyx, which is 80 strength, 160 PvP resilience. The green, or yellow I should say, I use a Vivid Wild Jade, which matches yellow or blue. It's a 160 combo gem of PvP power and resilience. For the chest, the yellow socket, I use Mystic Sun's Radiance, and then Resplendent Vermilion Onyx, and that's pretty much it. For your gems, I mean, the rest of them are all pretty much the same. I'll just kind of hover over them so you can see, you know, how I have them socketed, since I already told you the names of them all. And then just make sure you have your Dancing Steel on here. I will try to put a link in the description below with all the necessary enchants that you need. So let's go ahead and get out of this little area because I seem to be lagging something crazy because of that fire. Okay, now let's take a look at macros really quick. First one, shield wall, show tooltip, shield wall. Then you want to do your equip/equip slot. Make sure the numbers are 16 and 17. 16 is your main hand, 17 is your offhand. Then slash cast shield wall. Just make sure that the weapon that you're using is word for word. All the commas, parentheses, blah 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 are all in the right order. Next one is for spell reflect. It's the exact same thing except you slash cast spell reflect. You can only use this when you have your sword in board, which is why I have this here. Also, your stance macro. Whenever you cast shield wall, I can't stress this enough. You have to make sure that you're in defensive stance when you cast shield wall because it adds an additional 15% damage reduction. So 55% damage reduction over, how long is it, 12 seconds. Last but not least is your one-shot macro. Show tooltip recklessness, slash use potion of Mogu power. You can only use this in random battlegrounds. You can keep this in there if you decide to get one and test it out. Even if you don't have them or can't use it, you can still have this in there and it not fuck up your macro. Next is use 13. This is slot 13. That should be where your badge is. If it's down here, then just make sure it's use 14. Next is use Tyrannical Gladiator's Plate Gauntlets. This is only if you have engineering and have synapse springs tinkered onto your gloves. After that is slash cast Berserker Rage, then cast Blood Fury, then cast Recklessness, then cast Avatar, then cast Skull Banner. And another little thing, for arenas, if you're doing 2s, even if you're doing 3s, I'd make a third button, but this is just target arena 1, target arena 2. Makes it a lot easier than having to click their nameplates or anything of the sort. Last thing I want to show you are my add-ons. The bars down here is Bartender, complemented with Button Facade, and what is the other one? I can't seem to find it. It's just button for mask. That changes the way that the buttons actually look. Like if you'll notice, I have gears over here on my sidebars. The next one is Deadly Boss Mods Core. This is great for random battlegrounds, even rateds too. Whenever there's objective based, it tells you how long is left for, say, you're in Aranthi Basin. It gives you a timer of how long it takes to take Blacksmith, and various other things like that. Another one, healers have to die. This is imperative. What it does is it adds a giant red cross to all enemy healers, and it also complements Deadly Boss Mods in the sense that it tells you when your friendly healers are being attacked. So in arenas, I know when a certain person is attacking my healer, and I can kind of, peel off of them. The next one is mixed scrolling battle text, which just shows how the text shows up as opposed to the standard Blizzard text. OmniCC actually shows a live counter. Let me see if I can just do one. Notice I just popped my battle shout. It puts a physical number down on your bar to show you how much longer is left. There's another one too, in case you can't constantly look down there. This is called Doom _ cooldown pulse. What this does is when an ability is off cooldown, it shows the icon and it pops up in the middle of your screen right over your character. Kind of fades. I'll show you that in a moment. So that way, if you're not looking down at the timer, it'll pop up on your screen too, so you'll always know when your abilities are off cooldown. Next is Quartz. If you notice down below the add-on control panel, you'll see me casting my Hearthstone. Just changes the way that the cast bar looks. I like it. It's cleaner. Recount, pretty self-explanatory what that is. Reforged Light is a reforging calculator that basically meshes all your abilities, your stats in its priority to get the most optimal out of them all. I'll show you that as well. Tidy Plates is what pops up over the enemy's head, as you can see over here as I'm highlighting the target dummies. It just changes the way they look. Tip tack is your tooltip. It just makes them look cleaner. I like it. It's nice. Um, Now, let's see. What should I show you first? Let's go down here. I will show you down at the Reforger what Reforge Light does. This is a very great add-on that I found, and it makes it so you balance your stats out evenly and properly. So, just to give you a quick run through, when you first open it up, it's automatically going to be in advanced mode. So you want to uncheck that box. Originally, there will be no stats here. It'll be blank, just as you see it here. So you want to click Add Stat, go to Hit, check the box, Melee Hit Cap, and add a stat again. Go down to Expertise, check the box, and make sure you click Expertise Hard Cap. After that, you want to follow your stats as their priorities are, which will be Crit and then Mastery. After you're finished getting all your stats in here, this is all you have to do, and make sure that this is set to PvP. You want to hit Calculate, and all the numbers will pop up down here according to how you have this set up. Once you do that, you click Show, and any item that is not checked, it will reforge that item, and it'll also give you a cost, and it automatically drags and drops it over into the reforge icon. So you don't even have to really do anything. So that's a definite plus. Besides that, the only other thing that I could think of is showing you is a quick demonstration of my one-shot macro. So what I like to do when I'm about to target somebody, cast Battle Shout, pop my macro, charge in, Dragon's Roar. And you just start with your rotation, get the Colossus Smash off, get your 2 overpowers in, slam as much as you can. Heroic Strike is still good, but I like using Slam more. Only use Heroic Strike when you have intense amounts of rage. And that's pretty much it. Now if we look down here, if I can find Dragon's Roar, it hit the target dummy for 137,454 damage. It ignores all armor on the target, and it is absolutely amazing talent. I use this in randoms and rated battlegrounds quite often. Arenas, it depends on the comp. More often than not, I use Shockwave because my burst, even without Dragon's Roar, is still amazing. I'm averaging about 95k damage per second when my macro is put out, and in about 20 seconds I can do 2.7 million damage just on a target dummy. So if you scale that down with resilience, that's probably about close to 1 million damage in 20 seconds, if not maybe a little bit more. But in a nutshell, that is the video. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or anything of the sort, please leave them in the description below. I would really love to hear from you. I will also add some additional information in the information box showing the enchants, the names of the gems that I used, as well as full type out of the macro so you can copy and paste. And hopefully this guide will help you become the most optimal warrior. Thank you for watching, and now I'm going to go ride off into the sunset.